thank you and John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, because if it wasn't for you and many others making these films, there would be no Midnight Madness program.
Yeah, far out. Exactly.
I usually welcome people to Midnight Madness, but you are Midnight Madness.
I like that. Thank you. Hi.
Disappointment. I don't know what does. Welcome to Midnight Madness! I am the lead program here at the 200 International Film Festival Midnight Madness program. To begin, I would like you to forget I am wearing this uniform as I make the following remarks. Tonight's events are taking place on the treaty territory, the Mississaugas of the First Red Nation, and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are goddamn grateful! Woo! I would also like to thank Spinach. Forget I'm wearing this costume. I would like to thank Spinach for their high 420 regard of Midnight Madness. This film is eligible for the Gross People's Choice Midnight Madness Award. That's 1 of 10 films. Vote at tip.net/vote. You have the chance to add an extra screening of this film and give it an amazing laurels. It will be on the last day of the festival, sir. He just asked when the People's Choice Midnight Madness Award will play. Won't be in this venue. It'll be likely near the light box. That will be revealed soon. And a big round of applause for Maison 4x3, Oscilloscope Laboratories, and Best Friends Forever for providing us with this film. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I have been familiar with the filmmaker's shorts for some time. I've had the pleasure to program them at other festivals. And this is a feature I have looked forward to for a very long time. It is fiercely Canadian. It is fiercely strange. It is incredibly horny. And it is the mirror, I think, we, the Canadians in this room, and any politicians in this room, so desperately need/deserve. Please put your hands together for director Matthew Rankin! And joining him, please put your hands together for the producers of the film. Please step on stage if you're here. I'm not expecting you to do something as big as that. If you have anything to say, this is the time.
That's right. I should just maybe admit that Sergeant Kuplowsky did invite me to sing "O Canada" with him tonight, and I respectfully declined. In part because I'm one of the great cowards of world karaoke circuit, and also I just thought that if I was caught singing "O Canada" in public, it would just disqualify me from ever financing a film in Quebec ever again.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
That's true. But yeah, so we're about to watch, nauseatingly Canadian film, and I'm excited about it. It's about the youth of Mackenzie King, who was the Prime Minister of Canada for 22 years. And feel free to bathe in the blue light of Wikipedia as you watch, or not. You don't really need to. It can be a purely oniric experience to wash over you. And if you have any questions about what is true and what is false, I will be here at the end with my film family and with the whole cast, who I am so excited to present to you. And yes, so feel free to, we'll be back at the end, and I'll be able to answer some questions. And if you are too nervous to ask a question, feel free to, if you see me in the street, you can just stop me and ask. I'll be here all week, and I'll be wearing the same clothes. So, thank you. I hope you enjoy the movie.
Your applause for Matthew Rankin.
Yes, I would. I'd like to call everybody up. So, everybody's here. So great. I guess I've forgotten the alphabetical order. First, I guess I'll call Seán Cullen, Nurse Lapointe. Annie Saint-Pierre, in the role of James Real Clark. Trevor Anderson. Kee Chan as Dr. Milton Wakefield. We got, and here comes, oh my goodness, this is like a dream. Here comes Louis Negin as Mother. And of course, we have the great Seán Cullen as Wolrd Muto. Brent Stanford in the role of Arthur Ian. We have Mikael Ahuja, rising star of TIFF as Bill Parker. And then, of course, the great, wonderful lead of this motion picture, someone who I just had such a wonderful, meaningful time collaborating with, the great Daniel Beirne.
All right. I am positive the audience has questions. But I would like to start things off with, why William Lyon Mackenzie King? What attracted you to this historical figure, this political figure, this individual?
I guess, there's little stories about him as an older person, sort of involved with dog worship and seances and stuff like that. And he was a lifelong bachelor, and that was interesting to me. But I think as an undergraduate, when I was in university, I read his diary. Just the idea of reading someone else's diary was sort of lurid and thrilling to me. And Mackenzie was a lifelong diarist, and so am I. I've kept a diary my whole life compulsively. And when I was reading his diary as a young man, I found I was really drawn to kind of his worst expression of self, and sort of in his maudlin outbursts and romantic confusion and sort of Napoleonic vanity, I felt like I was just reading my own diary. So, I really just that was sort of the embryo of the whole thing.
And Dan, when hearing all of that, where did you find the character in terms of how you plan to play this character?
In the mirror. Where did I find the character? I think that there are certain wavelengths in which Matthew and I are quite similar, and so I think it was like just a presentation of the idea and its both its bigness and its smallness that just resonated with me entirely. It felt like a totally natural fit.
And so William Mackenzie King is a true historical figure, so is Tart, but some of the characters, for the sake of my own historical ignorance, who on stage played a historical character who was an invention of your own?
Oh, well, they're all pretty much real. Mother was real. Arthur Meehan was even Prime Minister of Canada for a short period. Bert Harper was Mackenzie King's friend. He did die in the Ottawa River trying to save the life of someone who was drowning.
But Narwhal was not involved.
Maybe. And then, yes, of course, Jay's real Tart. And of course, Seán plays sort of a composite character, Nurse Lapointe, who is a combo of a nurse that Mackenzie King did have a very brief and confused relationship with, and of course his Quebec lieutenant, Ernest Lapointe, who was his sort of Quebec long-suffering Quebec ally in his Liberal government. And of course, Lord Muto is based on Lord Minto, who was Governor General for a while, and no, they're all kind of based in like real people.
Even Mr. Wakefield?
Yes. He's sort of based on the author of Kellogg's Cornflakes. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but cornflakes were in fact an anti-masturbation pathology of the early 20th century. They were invented as a bland foodstuff that you would eat so you wouldn't masturbate. And so, But yeah, so I was inspired by Kellogg's Cornflakes for that character. But I met Kee at Sundance years ago, and I was just so fascinated by him just as a person, and I wrote this role really just for Kee. So he was the only one who's kind of trans-historical. Yeah.
I need to hear from the cast about what it is like to work on a Matthew Rankin set, because there's something, or just looking at the sets, when everything is rendered and finished. They're so spectacular, they're so amazing. But what is it like to work on Matthew's set? I'd love to hear from everyone. Let's go down, starting with Dan, and I'll pass it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Constantly imaginative. There would be persistent problems with like the inability to achieve such a wild vision, and then it was like, and then there were solutions to those. It was like the day on set was inventing solutions to those problems, magnificent new solutions to those problems. That was kind of my experience in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's like willfully relaunching the Hindenburg. What did you think, Louis?
When I was very young, I was born in England, but I grew up in Toronto, and it just seemed so unbelievably boring. All I heard about is hockey. And Saturday night we listened to the Saturday night hockey game and played strip poker with a bunch of guys. And I was always the first one who got undressed. So that's kind of what I knew about politics. So this has been a revolution for me. I mean, I'm staggered by it all. And it's exciting because now I'm proud of my country.
Does anyone have any sort of general thoughts of the chaos of a Rankin set?
You know, he really does lead an army of tenderness. Yeah. In the movie, disappointment wins, but on a Rankin set, it's all tenderness and love.
I'd like to throw to the audience now. Yes, right there.
Hey, so what is your comedic influence and visual stylistic influences?
Would you have a key? I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
But was there a key comic or stylistic influence that I guess kept manifesting on this production?
Yes. Well, comic. I guess Monty Python is a big kind of influence. I don't know. I would say Guy Madden is obviously one of my masters. But I would say more than anything else, Fellini's Casanova was maybe the biggest, most direct influence on this movie because, and I made little references to it throughout, visually and otherwise, because I do sort of think of Mackenzie King as like the Casanova of masturbation.
Other questions? Yes, right over there.
For a film as strange and wonderful as this is, how do you and your creative team decide on the production and art direction of the film?
Yeah. So there's where I really take a cue from Guy Madden because it's all about trying to make an aesthetic virtue out of a Dollarama budget. And so a lot of the ways that you sort of deal with that is you shoot you build one room and it's like two actors and they have an intimate kind of sort of situation going on, and then your money can go far. But with this, we were really building it entirely out of what we could find in Dollarama. So, and it was all about kind of embracing artifice and really getting into mischief with the artifices of cinema. And that would allow us to, if we sort of embrace things being really fake, then we could, get operatic with them.
How big was the space that you shot the film in?
Yeah, it was small, I guess. Yeah, I don't know, it was kind of...
Did you have to rebuild, did you have to tear down a set and build a new one in its place, or were you able to have multiple standing sets?
Well, there were maybe a couple, but yeah, we recycled everything within an inch of its life. I think the set had to be rebuilt practically every time we moved the camera, because we had so few elements.
Right there.
If you were to remake any Canadian heritage moment,
If you were to remake any Canadian heritage moment, which moment would that be?
Dr. Penfield.
Got it ready.
There should be more brain in that one. I want to see the brain.
Over there.
what was the deal with the mustaches?
What do you mean the deal with the mustaches? Humans wear them. Yeah.
Well, I am from Winnipeg, and Burton Cummings is one of the great mustaches. So I'm trying to have Burton hovering over this thing as much as possible.
Good. Sir. Other questions? Yes, right there.
How did Seán Cullen come to be involved?
Seán, how did you come to be involved in this production?
They asked me to do it. Pretty much I'll go wherever I'm asked. But I just kind of read some of the script, and it was, I was asked by the beautiful Mr. Rankin to look at it, and I said, this looks just so weird. But yes, okay, whatever you want. Whatever you want. And that's the feeling you get when you go into the set. I had no idea really of the entire thing. I only knew what I was doing, kind of, and it was so strange. I had a fake mustache, which was excellent, and I just got to yell and be weird, and I tell you that is incredibly liberating. But I really just wanted to make sure that Matthew's vision was there, and when you got into the set, it was all so strange looking, and I just wanted it to be exactly what he asked for. And so I hope it was, that's all. I hope it was. I know how disappointed you were. I don't know if that answered anyone's question, but I don't care.
We have time for just a few more for any questions left in the audience.
Right in the back.
Right in the back.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask how you achieve that effect with Canada Goose and soldiers thing.
How do you achieve the effect of the floating Canada Goose?
Oh yeah, well,
that doesn't come.
It actually floated. It was real.
It was hand carved by Corentin Le Dosseur, who was our great friend and spiritual warrior, who is sadly no longer with us. He built that goose with his bare hands, and it was the most beautiful thing. It was this object that we would take turns sitting in the goose sometimes between takes. And it was just a real beautiful thing. It became kind of like our little, monument, our little icon.
I think this is a great. I know there's a lot of people who worked on the movie in the audience, right? I think they should all stand up.
Yeah.